This is section 4-2, and today we're talking about graphs of rational functions. When you're sketching a graph of a rational function, there are several things you need to remember, and the easiest way to do this is to take a step-by-step approach. I would stop the video here and write down this chart in your notes and write it in your own words. But I'm going to read through it a little bit and then, like I said, pause the video because you're going to need some time to write this down. So here we have a rational function. Remember, it's a polynomial over another polynomial. So whatever that is, you need to factor everything. And simplify it. Okay? Once you have factored everything and simplified it as much as you can, find and plot the y-intercept by evaluating f of 0. So I'm going to put 0 in for x and find out what the final number is, and that is your y-intercept. Then you're going to find in your x-intercepts by taking the numerator only and setting it equal to 0 and solving. Okay, for part 3. Part 4. Now we want to find the vertical asymptotes. This time we're doing denominator only, setting it equal to 0. And you're going to take each factor, set it equal to 0, and solve each factor. We will find the horizontal asymptotes based on looking at the original equation and looking at the degrees. So remember that. So it'll be like n of x to the little n over d of x to the little m. Remember, we were talking about these. You need to look at those to determine what kind of horizontal asymptote you have. So follow the rules about that from section 4.1. Then you're going to pick some points to the left and right of each of those asymptotes and test them and find out what your y value is and plot those. And then you will use the asymptotes as your guide from those points to make an estimate line. So let's look at an example. Here we have 3 over x minus 2. The y-intercept, if I were to plug in, before I do that even, if I could simplify this down, I would. I have nothing to simplify though. Now to find the y-intercept, I'm going to put 0 in for x. And so 0 minus 2 is just 2. So it'll be 3 over negative 2, and that's what they got here. So that is my y-intercept. My x-intercept, there's no x on the top or in the numerator. So there is no x-intercept because setting it equal to 0 solves nothing. 3 does not equal 0. Vertical asymptote, again, we're going to take this whole thing and set it equal to 0. So when I do that, I get x equals 2. The horizontal asymptote is the degree, based on the degrees. This has a degree of 0 on the top because there's no x value there. This has a degree of 1 on the bottom. You can just assume there's a 1 next to that x. So because the degree at the top is smaller than the degree on the bottom, we know that it's an automatic y equals 0. Here's some additional points that we have tested. So if I plot all these points, this is what you should get on this. Typically, I'll plot just the y-intercept and the horizontal asymptote, the vertical asymptote, and then I'll pick either a point to the right or left. But even just having this one point, I know it's going to look something like this. Over here, we don't know if the points are going to be in the top or the bottom. So we just needed to pick a point or two. And if we had picked a 3, we would have gotten this. So that is all personally I would have used and just use the asymptotes as my guide.